Getting your ex back is a multi-month process. They're not going to come back in the heat of your emotional neediness and just say, you know what? I made a mistake. I regret what I did. Now I'm going to come back, especially because you're begging me, and I'm just going to take you back right now. You don't even have to work at all. You don't even have to go without my presence for a while. I'm just going to take you back because you're crying. Hey, I'm Coach Benny, and I help people get their exes back. And for 5 years before I did this, I was a dating coach. I had to pay attention to how to create attraction in other people, and I use that experience to your benefit to help you get your ex back. And the reason why getting your ex back is a multi-month process, number one, is because whatever reason your ex left you for, loss of attraction, they've got their walls up for some reason, or some kind of attachment style dysfunction or whatever that reason is, it's going to take some time before they either let their walls down or they're kind of open to the idea of you having changed. Like, for example, if it was a loss of attraction, they're not just going to immediately take you back in most cases. And that's what you're wanting, right? You're in the state of emotional need. They've pulled the rug out from underneath you in many cases. You are hurting really, really bad. And in this time where you're hurting, you're contacting them, you're begging them, trying to get them to reconsider, because there's a lag time between where they're at and where you're at, right? So you're like catching up, trying to get all the details and trying to maybe get them to reconsider as if they were still where you're at, right? Where it's just like this little movement that they have to make because for you, you're already right there, But that's a fundamental misunderstanding as to where they're at, because they've been kind of moving in this direction for a period of time. So it's not some little move for them. So they're not just going to double back just because you're getting upset or just because, you want them so bad. So on average, if it's been a loss of attraction, you're going to have to wait about 3 months. If it's a fearful avoidant where somebody that you've hurt or they perceive that you've hurt them, it's probably going to take about 3 months to, for them to let their walls down. And then if it's a dismissive avoidant, they're going to repress their emotions for about 3 months, but it takes extra time after that for them to warm up after that. And that's just the waiting time period where you're building yourself up, not contacting them. After that, it's going to take additional time for you to have that attraction effect on them in the interactions that ensue after you get back in contact. So all things considered, this whole process could take up to, 3/4 of a year potentially, sometimes even longer, just depending on that person, your story, and their attachment style. Now, why am I taking the trouble to say all this and maybe potentially discourage you from this process? Well, you need to understand that if you're sitting around grieving and you're in the state where you're like appealing to them and you're trying to get them to reconsider, that isn't going to help you at all. The only way that you can get them back is you start to like pick yourself up, you get yourself out of this extremely sad state, and you put yourself into a place where you can kind of take it or leave it with your ex. Now imagine where you're at right now as you're watching this video and what it would take for you to get to a place where you could actually take it or leave it with them. It's going to take you some time. Now, there are some cases where this can be sped up depending on what you do, depending on how you handle your social media, depending on the reasons why they're breaking up with you. And also, sometimes if they've broken up with you, but they stay in contact with you after that, if you're able to handle your interactions the right way, you can also speed up the process. And if you want my help with this, click into my profile, click this link right here, set up a call with me and tell me your story. And I'm going to give you some step-by-step advice on how to reattract your ex.